Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is KDreezy from KDreezy Gaming. So this is basically a get out of bronze, get out of silver video, which I have had a few requests, and I've seen a lot of these videos online, and they always have, like, some good points, some good things to think about, but they never really explain very well. And a lot of people don't really get, like, okay, well, what do I do? What does that really mean to me? So this video is going to be a little bit of a long one, but I want to make sure that you guys understand exactly what I mean, and so I'm going to explain in depth a little bit as far as each of these steps. So let's jump into it. I have 5 main steps, and I'll get into each of these a little bit more as we go on. And starting with number 1, you know the game, you play the right champions, you focus on CS and objectives without feeding, you ignore negative chat and encourage your team, and you don't play on tilt, but you do play when you're on a win streak. So, starting off with number 1, you know the game. So, what do I mean by this? What I mean by you know the game is that you know basically every aspect of the game, and you familiarize yourself with every part of it, including the champions, the items, the strategies, what strategies work and don't work, and the runes and masteries, all those little things, they can add up. And throughout this video, I'm gonna say increase your win percentage a lot. I'm gonna say that over and over, because what this is all about is each of these steps is designed to help you increase your win percentage. If your win percentage goes up and you're winning 60% of your games, eventually you're going to get into gold. That's just how it is. If you're only winning 50% of your games, you're going to stay where you're at. If you're only winning 40% of your games, you're going to go down. So that's how it works. So that's why I'm going to keep saying, increases your win percentage. So knowing all the champions, knowing how each of the champions works, watching the champion spotlights if you can't afford to buy each of the champions or they aren't free to play, that's something that you probably should do. Knowing how each champion works, what their abilities do, do I fight a Renekton when the bar, when his red health or his red bar is all the way up or all the way down? When do I fight him? Does Tryndamere have his ult? Knowing each champion and what their abilities do and what their strengths and weaknesses are increases your win percentage. So either play each of the champions once or watch the champion spotlights or other videos of other players playing that champion so that you know how every single champion in the game works. It takes a lot of time, but the more you familiarize yourself with the other champions, the better you'll play the champions you play, the better you'll play the champions that you main. So learn the game inside out, watch games, watch pro games, high tier games. The more you watch, the more you play, the better you'll get. Also knowing what strategies don't work for bronze and silver, but they do work for pros and vice versa, that's something that can increase your win percentage. Make sure you have the right runes and masteries for your role, or at least as close as you can get and as close as you can afford with your IP and RP and whatever. I do have a runes and masteries, a couple of videos on the climb series, so if you guys want a more in-depth explanation on the runes and masteries, then you guys should go check those out. So we'll go to number 2, you play the right champions. So I also have a link to the climb champion select, which is just, in the climb series I have another champion select video which tells you in depth what champions to play, how many to play, how many roles, all that kind of stuff. But what it boils down to is I want you to pick 2 or 3 roles and know how to play 3 champions in each of those roles really well. Like inside and out, the champion, who they counter, who they don't counter, what they can and can't do. Know the limits of those champions. And even for the, if you play top, mid, and jungle, and you don't play the bot lane very much, ADC and support, still don't be that guy that says, oh, I can't play ADC, I can't play support, don't make me do this, all this kind of stuff. At least know 1 or 2 champions in those roles that you can play decently and you won't feed with them. And as long as you do that, you won't hurt your win percentage, and obviously your team won't be mad at you. So just know 2 or 3 roles really well, know 3 champions in those roles, and at least for your bottom couple roles, know a champion or 2 that can get you by. And don't worry so much about counters in bronze and silver. As you get closer to gold, you can start worrying more about counters, but just play champions that you're comfortable with and you know inside and out. Number 3, you focus on CS and objectives without feeding. I can't stress enough how people in bronze and silver focus on kills, and they just kind of are in la la land and just doing their own thing and trying to get as many kills, which kills are great, but they're not as great as getting 4 dragons or 5 dragons, and they're not as great as getting 3 towers and an inhibitor. People in bronze and silver are just really self-centered and cocky and just try to feed themselves, and they don't hardly ever do anything with that. They get fed, but then they just try to get more kills. Whereas if you get fed, you should try to get towers, you should try to get inhibitors. Your main goal should be the nexus. And there's lots of videos on CSing, creep score, last hitting. You can find those videos all over on YouTube, so I won't really get into that. But if you do focus on improving your CS, then that can improve your chances of winning right there as well. So number 4, you ignore negative chat and you encourage your team. Don't be that guy that is negative and says, "Oh, our Darius is 0 and 5, GG." Don't harass people. You can't fight fire with fire. If you're not that guy, and someone else is flaming and being a jerk, don't fight fire with fire. Use ice against that. Don't be the nice guy, be the better person, and as long as you do that, your chances of winning goes way up. Just because you're not planting that seed in the team, of anger and fighting with your team just causes your win percentage to go way down. So number 5, you don't play on tilt, and you do play when you're on a win streak. So first of all, tilt, for those of you guys don't know, is basically when you're mad if you've lost a few games in a row, or even 1 game in a row. Some people will go on tilt. So when you're on tilt, if you're mad or you're upset, you're pissed off at your team, you're pissed off at yourself, whatever it is, stop playing. And I would recommend at least a minimum of 1 hour of stop playing, go do something else, eat something, whatever. But I would actually recommend that you would take a break for the rest of the night, the rest of the day, whatever, so that you can come back the next day with a clean slate, and you can start pumping out wins again. And then on the opposite side of that, if you're on a winning streak, keep playing. If you're winning, you're obviously doing something right. Your mood is probably up, your confidence is good, you're making good decisions. So people sometimes say, well, I've just had a good team the last 5 games. No, I mean, you can have a good team 5 games in a row, or you could have a decent team, but the reason why you won is not just because you had 4 MLG players randomly selected to be on your solo queue team. It's not like that. What it is that you made some good decisions, and you're in the habit of doing the right thing. So something that you're doing is good, so you're winning. And if you're on a winning streak and you have time to play and you don't have somewhere to go in an hour or so, play another game, because the odds are, since you're on a win streak, the odds are you're going to win again. And if you lose after a win streak, a lot of times that'll piss me off. If I've won 3 in a row and then I lose, that usually makes me more mad than if I've lost 2 in a row. Then you're on tilt, so take a break, come back tomorrow. So just doing that, staying positive, all that kind of stuff, that increases your win percentage. If you can get your win percentage up for your main champions up to 60-70%, then in no time you're going to be in gold. I guarantee that. So I know this is a little bit of a long video, but hopefully it was really comprehensive for you guys. If you guys have any other questions, leave some questions in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in, and good luck and have fun.